Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, mysterious voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I have found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about some poetry that has interested me, as well as some LGBTQA poetry, since we are in that period of Pride. And today's poem is all about playing instruments. I am referring to Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark by D.A. Powell. For those who don't know, D.A. Powell is an American poet who's been writing since the 90s. He's written anthologies, just books of poetry, and I think a memoir of sorts. And he's written about a number of topics, ranging from current events to the AIDS crisis, which might have something to do with his queer background. And a lot of people have proclaimed great things about his style of writing, noting in particular his decision to write in heroic couplets, or write in that kind of style. It is worth noting that the style that he writes in is a bit unusual, in that it requires it utilizes a lot of spacing, or there's rhyming, but then there's not rhyming, a little bit of inconsistency at times. He plays around with the form of poetry more so than other writers, and usually I'm not a big fan of that, especially when the poetry can be vague or hard to decipher. But there are a couple poems that I found from him that were of particular interest to me, so I wanted to talk about at least one of them today. A very interesting poet that I love to have the opportunity to catalog here. So without further ado, let's talk about Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. I will read the poem, do a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. I play the egg and I play the triangle. I play the reed and I play each angle. I play the lyre and I play the lute. I play the snare and I play the flute. I play the licorice stick and I play the juke. I play the kettle and I play the ook. Whoever thought of the triangle, whoever thought of the clarinet, the castanets, the cornet, the discotheque, the harmonium, the euphonium, marimbas and maracas, harmonicas, tom-toms and tatas. I play the fiddle and I play the jug. I play the washboard and the wash tub. I play kalimba and I play the koto. I play the organ and I play the banjo. I play the fool, I play it cool. I play hot and I play pranks. I played your mixtape, forgot to say thanks. So that was Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. In terms of analysis, there is a little bit worth talking about in this poem. It's a pretty short poem, and it does seem a little bit like nonsense the first you read it. A lot of D.A. Powell's poems require a few read-throughs to really get at what he might be trying to say, which I understand how that could turn some people off, given not all of us have time to read poems 3 or 4 times through, or something like that. But in terms of narrative, what is D.A. Powell talking about? What is the narrator talking about in this poem? I don't think there's really a narrative. I think it's the narrator just listening to things that they play, whether it be an actual instrument or a thing that can't really be played. Like, I play the egg, I play the triangle, I play the reed, I play each angle, sort of using figures of speech there. Like, they play the licorice stick, they play the juke, they play the kettle, they play the ook, sort of just listing off nonsense ideas from time to time. And all of this is building up to the end of the poem where they say, I played your mixtape, forgot to say thanks. Just doing a lot of build up for what is essentially saying, hey, I played your mixtape. Thank you for that. And it reads a little bit like a shit post, like the author is making a big elaborate joke and they're doing it by saying that they're playing all of these weird instruments. All of it is just to build up to the end of what they're saying here, really having no point, and that does feel a little postmodern in its intent. A lot of postmodern authors and writers say, oh, there doesn't need to be a point. The point is within the writing or something like that. But since the writing, you can't really ascribe a meaning to that, we have to look at the structure, the form of the poem, something that I feel like D.A. Powell it really tries to bring your attention to. It just couplets. I play the egg and I play the triangle, talking in those sorts of ideas. But I do notice that the poem seems to follow an A, B, C, B kind of rhyming order. I play the egg and I play the triangle. I play the raid and I play each angle. Like triangle rhymes with angle, but egg and reed don't rhyme. And then I play the lyre and I play the lute. I play the snare and I play the flute. And this just keeps going, although later in the poem, the rhyming kind of stops, and they say the castanets, the cornet, the discotheque, the harmonium, the euphonium, marimbas and maracas and harmonicas, tom-toms and tatas, things that sound very fancy or just have a sort of consonant kind of sound to it. Maybe not trying to rhyme, but trying to put in as many unusual words as possible to make the poem flow, even though you're not necessarily rhyming. They say, I play the fiddle and I play the jug, I play the washboard and the wash tub. Sort of things that kind of rhyme, but not quite so. So, kind of being disruptive with the form that they establish in the beginning, which I think is D.A. Powell's kind of overall vibe with his poems. Adhering to form, but also breaking away from it when it suits you or when it's a fancy, or when you fancy. And, just generally trying to challenge the people who are reading your poem. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark by D.A. Powell. A pretty funny poem, maybe not one of the more complex poems that I've ever encountered, but one that is fun to read and one that is fun to celebrate during this period of LGBTQA pride. You don't always have to understand the poems that you're reading. Sometimes it's enough just to appreciate it, I guess. I find that's the case with a lot of, in particular, Emily Dickinson's poems. I love reading her work. I don't always understand what she's saying. Anyways, if you have any thoughts on this poem or you simply want to comment on my review, do so below. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can, know about Poetry Thursday or this poem or this poet if they don't already know. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and music-playing travels. Farewell.